What's going on, guys? Welcome to the Garagecade, and today, guys, we're going to talk about my pinball and arcade streaming rig, and there it is in all its glory. I've been working the last couple weeks diligently at this project, and as usual, it took longer than expected, and it cost a lot more money than expected, but it's done. I'm very happy with it. So we're going to do a full tour. I'm going to share the process of building it and all the different items and how I use it. And it should be a fun video. I'm looking forward to sharing this with you guys. And I've been busy down here in the arcade making lots of changes. The biggest change, if you guys have been following the progress of the Garagecade here, is look at this. I put these giant curtains up to cover all the garage stuff, the non-arcade stuff. So now I'm gonna move that chair eventually, and there's gonna be a full row of arcade machines going right down there and then over here to meet up with the aliens cab. So like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 maybe more machines will fit right there. And then I moved the pinball machine, the EM, the Bally Gold Rush, over into the row. So now I have room for 3 pinball machines here. I left a spot right in the middle so I can have a nice little lineup of pinball machines there. And then I can fit another arcade cabinet on the wall, and I might put the chair right here. So all kinds of changes. The biggest one, of course, is those curtains. And that made a huge difference in here because before it was just those shelves of all the garage stuff. And it's coming along, guys. It's starting to look like an actual arcade. Okay, but that's not what we're talking about today. We're talking about the pinball streaming rig. So what was the purpose of doing this? Okay, so I stream over on Twitch, guys, at COE33. I'd love it if you go over there and give me a follow. Historically, I've always done all retro content on a CRT television and original hardware, so like Sega Genesis, Super Nintendo, stuff like that. And I'm still going to do that. I love doing that, of course. But I'm passionate about pinball and arcade, and I wanted to be able to come out here in the Garagecade and do some streaming. In particular, I wanted to stream some Godzilla Premium here. So I was like, okay, I'm going to build a streaming rig. And now not only can I stream this Godzilla, but I have this set up so that I can do all the arcade cabinets and stuff too. It's pretty versatile. And I started watching videos of other streaming rigs and tried to like formulate how I wanted to do this. And, you know, I was thinking about budget and versatility and portability and all these different factors that go into building something like a pinball/arcade streaming ring, and this is what I came up with. So where should we start? Okay, let's start with the actual frame itself. Now it was actually part of this project when I went ahead and did this project here with these giant curtains. There were shelves on that far wall. These metal shelves actually came with the house, so they've been sitting there for over 10 years. And they were kind of rusted out and they were kind of funky, but they were made out of metal. And I was gonna take them apart and take them to the dump. But then I was looking at them, I'm like, oh, you know what? This would be perfect for a streaming rig. And it wouldn't cost me any money because a lot of the plans that I've seen online require, I forget the name of the company, but there's this like, this metal tubing that people buy, and it's pretty expensive. And I didn't really want to do that. So I was like, how can I do this on the cheap? And I saw some people do like curtain rods, but that looked pretty flimsy. It would work, it's fine, whatever, you know. But it's not what I wanted. So I took apart these shelves. I took apart 2 shelves. And then much like an erector set, I just started putting it together into the shape you see here. And it's perfect because it has all these holes in it so you can attach everything. And then you've got spots to zip tie so you can do cable management. And then I used, down here, I used these braces that were on the shelves to add a little stability. And boy, it worked out perfect, guys. And then I took it outside after I put it all together and I spray painted it and clear coated it. So I added, it's like a stone finish spray paint that I purchased. A lot of the stuff that I use, guys, if you're just curious, I'll put links in the description below. I'll try to put everything I can think of. So if you see something and you're like, oh, that would work, or I want to do that, or I'll try to put everything in the description. So I spray painted it stone. I gave it a clear coat. I actually a couple coats of that stone. And then I went ahead and clear coated it and I let it dry. And then I brought it in. And it's perfect as far as like the height of it, because you can sit here, you can play pinball, and it's not obstructing your view. So that was a big part of it. So you got your cameras, You can play pinball, nothing's getting in your way. And then you got a little bit of clearance on both sides, which you want, so you can nudge the machine, of course. But not so big that you can't put it in a lineup of arcade machines or pinball machines. So these are all the kind of little things that you have to think about when building a streaming rig. It's a very specific kind of thing. So let's just go through everything on here and its purpose. Okay, this is start down here because we're down here on the legs, we move up. And I had this little, this like, to put games, video games on your wall. And I have those in my game room, and I had an extra one. So I put this on here as a place that I can throw my phone on there when I'm streaming, but also my keyboard. So there's the little keyboard I use. I want it to be portable. The idea behind this was everything lives on the rig. So every single item is on the streaming rig. It's portable, including the PC. Like, I didn't want a laptop sitting on a pinball machine. I didn't want wires all over the place. I wanted it to be a clean build, as clean as possible. And then, okay, this move up here. Now, this is the face cam that I use. And in an effort to save money, this actually worked out really well because it's a great camera. But I was trying to be thrifty as possible. I already had this Insta-X3. This is actually the camera that I would normally be filming this particular video on. But for purposes of this video, I'm using my phone so that you guys can see the rig all set up. So this is the camera that I use for YouTube videos. It's the Insta-X3 and Insta360 X3. And one of the nice features about this camera is that you can use it in webcam mode, which is perfect for this particular build. And it's a really good webcam as well. So that's my face cam. I have it mounted on just a little, typical mount here. It's actually a suction cup mount, but I have it zip tied to the frame here. So it's not going anywhere. It's on there really good. And then I'm in a garage, so the audio is a little bit echoey sometimes. It's not too bad, but you can tell that I'm in a garage usually. So this was actually a friend of mine's idea. He's like, just put a little sound barrier behind. And I went ahead and did that. I purchased this little microphone sound barrier on Amazon, and then I zip tied it to the frame, which you can kind of see right there. And that works out really well. This is the lens for my Playfield camera. I just set it right up there. And just a little, a very small improvement, I would say, over audio, but you can tell a little bit of improvement there. And yeah, a little sound barrier. So there's my face cam, and I'm using this face cam as my microphone. So that was not the original plan. I actually purchased a microphone and I mounted it to the frame here, and I didn't like it. It didn't sound very good. The noise canceling on it sucked, and it just wasn't cutting it. So then I tried my lavalier mic, and that was okay, but I really didn't want to be wired on this particular setup. I wanted freedom out here. I wanted to be able to play pinball, walk around the garage-cade, go over and get a beverage from my fridge or whatever. I wanted to chill and have fun streaming out here in the garage, and I did not want to be tethered. So the lavalier mic wasn't really ideal. So I started testing the different webcams that I have set up and testing the different mics, and they were all terrible except for this Insta-X3, which is not surprising because when I'm filming my YouTube videos, that's the mic I use, and it's actually really good. It's got great noise canceling, so I don't even have to use any of the noise canceling in the software for Twitch when I'm streaming on Twitch. It's all built in, it sounds great, really impressive, nice and loud, and I can just sit here and play pinball, and it picks up everything really well, including the game audio. So everything is being fed to that microphone, and it works surprisingly well. I was surprised. So that was a nice, easy solution to that. Okay, moving up here, this is the tablet that I use to read chat, and here's one of my streams that I threw up for you guys. I was watching some old 80s and 90s commercials, and everyone seemed to really enjoy that. That was a lot of fun, and it was a real nostalgic trip watching those. But this is how I read chat, and I threw it up like this so that you guys can see kind of what it would be like for me viewing. So I can actually read chat, I can monitor the stream, and I control everything from right here. And it's really easy for me to be playing pinball and just glance up and see what's going on in the stream, and if everything looks right and chat's going and all that stuff. So a nice, easy solution. That's a Samsung A8 tablet. You can get those at like Walmart or Amazon, of course. I think they're like $150, something like that. And it's a good, it's not like a real expensive tablet, but it's also not like one of those real cheapo ones for like $50 that don't work very well. It's actually a good middle ground tablet. And for something like this, where you're just reading chat. I think that's a good solution. And I have this mounted with a tablet mount to the frame here, and it just clips right on, nice and strong and sturdy, and I can adjust it if need be. And I have it hooked up there via USB, so it's always plugged in, always charged. And of course the same for the webcam, although that needs to be plugged in to work in webcam mode. Okay, moving up here, I wanted, as I said, everything to be on the mount. I didn't want to have stuff that I had to plug in or move around, so I attached a light. I purchased that on Amazon. What's the company? Alokiam. I don't know. Let's see if you can see that there. There's the company. Again, I'll put a link in the description. And a really bright LED light with a bunch of different settings. And I have it running up around here. And then I have the little doodad to control it right here. So you can turn it on, off, and then you can change the white levels, the white balance, so it's a softer or brighter, or different values for the light there. So really ideal, and it's pointed right down at me. It's a little bit indirect light, so it looks really nice. And yeah, I'm really happy with it too, because it attaches right there to the frame, and I have it attached via a couple of screws and washers there. I don't know if you can see that light's kind of washing it out. Let's see, can we get a good shot of that? Yeah, there you go. So I have it just screwed into the mount there. And then I have a little cable management going on here. This camera's not wanting to focus. There we go. And yeah, cool. Okay, that's light. Now I do have this light right here. And this is, eventually I'm going to replace this because, as I said, I want everything to be on the rig and I don't want to have to set stuff up. But currently my Godzilla Premium is stock. I have not begun the process of modding it. And the playfield on these Godzillas is a little bit dark. And even though I bought a nice camera for the playfield, it's not really quite bright enough to get as good of a picture as I'd want. I'm getting there. It's fine, but it could be a lot better. And I think the visual quality would improve quite a bit if I were to lighten up this playfield a lot. So currently I have this little light here, but that's not ideal because it causes reflections and stuff. What I'm going to do is install some art blades first, and then install some of those Neo Atom Pin Stadium lights. And that'll just run along the inside underneath the glass here. And that'll light up this entire playfield quite a bit, which will help a lot for the camera that I use for the playfield. And we might as well just talk about that. Okay, so I've got two cameras right here mounted on. I bought two of these mounts, and these are great because they're super adjustable. They just clip right on. They're not going anywhere. I have USB cables coming out of both of them there, and then I cable manage, of course. So for the playfield, that's kind of an important camera, part of the puzzle. So you want it to be 60 frames per second. You want it to be pretty good in low light situations. I wanted to go just the kind of webcam route with this build. I didn't want a big heavy camera hanging off of my rig. I'm trying to think of portability and be able to carry this around real easy. So I basically just looked up what are the best webcams. And this is the Razer Kio, let's see, can we get underneath there? Ultra. And a lot of people were giving this camera great reviews. And yeah, I mean, it's really good for a webcam. Is it going to give you DLSR quality image? No. But if you're looking for a webcam, it's I'm kind of like as good as it gets right now on the market, at least from what I've seen. And it's got a nice big sensor on it. And yeah, it works really well. Actually, it picks up all the detail in the playfield, and it does a great job. And there's a lot of different customizable settings on it, so that's nice. I think when I go ahead and light this playfield up even more, it'll be that much better. But then, playing pinball, you not only want to get the playfield, you want to get all that in one shot, but you also want to get the DMD here, the LCD screen. So for that, I have the Razer Kio. So this is the Razer Kio Ultra, and this is just the standard Razer Kio, and I have that pointed right down like that. So it's picking up the DMD, LCD. I guess you don't really call them DMDs anymore, huh? Because they're LCDs. But if I'm playing an old school machine, I can pick up the DMD or the back glass for an EM or a marquee for an arcade machine. All this is super adjustable. I just have to move the I don't have to actually move anything. I just have to adjust the angle of these different cameras depending on what I'm streaming and what situation I'm in. Okay, and of course that's all nicely cable managed there with the zip ties. I mean, you can't see really hardly any cables. I tried my best to really manage that, except for one cable, which I'll share with you in a second. Okay, moving over here. Now, this is probably not necessary, but this is a nice little touch, I thought, and it doesn't weigh very much. I got this on Amazon. It's a little on-air sign that lights up. So right here, boom, you turn it off when you're not streaming, turn it on when you're streaming. And again, not necessary, but a nice little fun touch. And then I have it mounted here in two ways. One is I have it screwed in the back, and then I have it Velcroed right there. And I put it right here so I had access to the battery compartment if need be, although I do have a little USB cable hooked into this little USB extension. So it's actually running off USB power. Everything is running off USB power, and I've utilized almost every single port on my computer except for one USB-C port. So it's definitely, it worked out perfect, and I just barely had enough juice to get it all done. And I had to use two USB extensions, so we might as well talk about those. So the first USB extension I use is this one. This is not a powered one. Well, actually it is powered, but I don't have the adapter for it. I've had this for years, and I just went ahead and mounted this right here with some double-sided Velcro. And it's not going anywhere. It's on there really good. And I'm using that for the tablet, stuff that doesn't require a lot of like data. Like I don't have the webcams or anything hooked up in there. I think I've got the light, the LED light, the keyboard, the keyboard dongle. That's what the word I'm looking for is right there. So that's mounted, and then of course I have it all cable managed here. Now this is where the cables kind of get intense, so I did the best I could, but there's so many cables running down here, but you can't see them from the front, so that's good. I got all the different cables managed here. And then moving down here, I find this to be kind of essential for streaming, and that's a Stream Deck. This is the Stream Deck Mini. I have another one of these in my game room where I stream from, and I had to have it because all my, I'm basically, this is going to be a similar setup to what I have in the game room as far as the way the stream flows. The only difference is I'm playing pinball, and the overlay is going to be different. It's more of an arcade themed overlay. But I can press this and have my little welcome message and my question of the day. And then, people that want links, I can just press that and all the links to the social and stuff. I can mute the stream and do all kinds of my boo button, so I can boo everyone for their dumb comments. And then my clucking, because everyone says I like to square dance with chickens, but that's propaganda, of course. My raid screen and just chatting screen. There's where, square dancing with chickens happens. You have to be part of it. If you know, you know. And then the sad violin, of course, gotta have that. And then I do like Geek Battles and Bean Boozled. So I have different music and sound effects for Geek Battles and Bean Boozled. So all this stuff I had to have Stream Deck. It would be, I didn't have to have it, but it would be so wildly inconvenient not to have it that I wouldn't want to do all that extra stuff. Now this was kind of tough to mount because there's no tripod mount on these Stream Decks. So I actually got kind of creative. First of all, I had this little speaker shelf that it's like a little tiny speaker shelf. I mounted that right there with a nut and washer. And then I put a little piece of Velcro there just for, extra security, I guess. So that's sitting on the shelf, but then it would just be sitting there. It wouldn't actually be attached. So I mounted it with this little phone mount. So it's clipping it on the sides and from underneath. So now it's not going anywhere. It's on there. But it was tilted a little too far back. So this is, getting in the weeds, I know, guys. So I went ahead and put a little something right there to keep it propped up a little bit. So now it's propped up so I can see it better, and it's not going anywhere. It's totally solid. And I just put this here to kind of clean it up a little bit. And then I zip tied this right here. So it's, I try to keep this as clean as possible, but functional as possible. It's a hard balance to strike. And then the whole kind of idea behind this rig was keeping it all on the rig. So I see a lot of guys, they have a laptop sitting on a pinball machine next to them. And that's fine. That's definitely a way to go, but I wanted to have everything here. So this is kind of the heart of the streaming rig. Okay, so what do we got going on here? So this is a B-Link mini PC. These are great. You get these on Amazon, of course, And I have one of these in my custom Aliens multi-cade upstairs, and it works like a champ. You get a lot of bang for your buck with these B-Links, and they plug and play. They just work. So I love them. I've had now this is my second one. It's been perfect. I would use it again. I recommend it. And it's got a Ryzen processor in there. It's got Radeon graphics. I'm not, streaming games per se, so I don't need the beefy gaming PC because I'm not running that on the PC. I'm streaming pinball. So the only processing power I need is to run the cameras and the software, the Twitch Studio and all that. I don't need as much graphical prowess as I would, like say in the game room where I'm playing actual games on a PC. So this little mini PC works perfect, and it even came with mounting hardware. So I was able to mount it straight to this frame, which is perfect. And so I was like, okay, so I got this mini PC, but I need to be able to set everything up and run the stream. How am I going to do that? Initially, I was going to use the tablet. I was like, well, Samsung tablets, you can run off a PC. And that's true. Problem is, it's clunky. And every time you have to establish a connection with it, it's a little bit slow. It was not working for my needs. So I was like, that's not going to work. So I'm just going to use this for chat. I'm like, I need to come up with a solution to run everything off the rig because I do not want to have an external monitor like on a table or something. It just wasn't cutting it. So I picked up this little 7-inch touch screen, which turned out to be a real blessing because having a touch screen makes all the difference. And it's boy, this camera is having a hard time. I think there's so many lights going on that this camera is having a hard time focusing today. Sorry about that. So 7-inch touch screen. It's like used for like Raspberry Pi builds and stuff like that. And it was not expensive. I think it was like $40. I could be wrong. I think it was about 40 though. It's not even cased or anything. It's real simple, but that's perfect because I want it to be lightweight. And I have it on a tablet mount, much like I have this over here. I did a similar thing. I just mounted on a tablet mount, and it's got its HDMI and it's got its USB-C, which it uses to power the tablet and the touchscreen. And it's so nice because you can bring up Twitch Studio. And so say I just want to bring up Twitch Studio. Having the touchscreen is so nice because I don't have to go over here and get my keyboard. I can do that if I need to, but I don't have to. And then you just bring up Twitch Studio. I'll show you my overlay and stuff and how I run the stream. It's thinking. Okay, so here we are. So everything I can manage from this little tablet. It's real easy. So if I'm starting soon, boom. I just touch it, starting soon screen. It's hard to see, I know, but it's got my little Pac-Man, little kid playing Pac-Man, so starting soon. And then I got my Stinger transitions, which is Pac-Man, my just chatting screen, and then my pinball screen. So really convenient, and I can rate out and all that stuff all from here, and it just works like a champ. So all that, I had to do some cable management on the side here just because so many wires, but also because the only wire that I really have exposed that's kind of ugly is this one, but that's for a reason. So I have this camera right here, and I want it to be really easy. So all I do is take this one little piece of Velcro, undo it. Okay, and then all this is loose. Okay, so I have this little webcam that sits right on my PC, and now I have a webcam that has some freedom. And this is really important and versatile. Well, it's not important, but I think it's cool. You can put this webcam wherever you want. So if you wanted to point at the building here on Godzilla, you can do that. The way I use it is, let me grab it over here. Okay. So I put this piece of Velcro right here. It's nice and soft. It's not hurting the machine. I just tucked it underneath the lockdown bar. And then I put a little piece of Velcro on the bottom there. And I literally just stick it right there. And there, I have a flipper cam. So 60 frames per second. Now this camera really impressed me because this was a super cheap camera. This was like $16 on Amazon. And I was not expecting much. I just saw that it was 1080p 60. I got it in. I was surprised at how good of a camera for the price it is. Perfect for this application. Like, it looks good. As far as a flipper cam, it worked out really well. And then I can just kind of move this out of the way a little bit. And there we go. So it's not getting in the way of the playfield or the camera right here or me using the flippers. And then I can move that wherever I want. So if I want to like have an overview shot of some of the machines in the arcade, or I want to do a close-up of like Mecha Godzilla or whatever, I can do that. So I wanted to have one camera that wasn't totally tied down. So that worked out really well. Okay, so I have everything mounted here, everything zip tied and cable managed. You can see I have a lot of cables here. It was hard to do all this. It took a lot of time. And then I've got another USB. This is a USB 3.0 powered hub, which I needed because I'm running all the cameras and stuff off of this one. I needed that power. And that worked out really well. So I've got every slot used there. There's 1, 2, 3, 4 slots. I've got my cameras. What else? And the screen for the computer. So I've got USB or HDMI, of course, for the screen there. And everything's running down here to this right here, which is how I power the whole thing. And this is one cable comes off of this whole rig, and that's this one power cord. So this is a 10-foot extension cord. And down here, I've got the outlets, and I have one open outlet if I need it. So that's good. And then I've got the power brick for the computer, zip tied and Velcroed to the bottom there. And then the one cable that comes off the rig is the power cord right there. And so I can move this around and I can plug it in everywhere, and it's totally self-sufficient. If you have a good Wi-Fi signal, you can stream off Wi-Fi. I am actually out here in the garage, and even though I have a Wi-Fi extender plugged into the wall there, which works great for like Stern Connect and stuff like that, the machine's always connected, so that's good. And for like, I watch YouTube videos and stuff over on my TVs. I've got 2 TVs mounted down here. I'll have like music or YouTube going in the background when I'm working on these machines and stuff. It works great for that, but for streaming, it wasn't good enough. So what I do is I run a Ethernet cable from my router out here, and it's a flat cable. It actually works out really well because it fits underneath the skirting right here. And so I can close that door, I can run the Ethernet cable right to my PC, and then I've got a really good solid connection for streaming. So technically you don't need that. So I actually do plug in 2 things on this particular setup. But if you're close to your Wi-Fi router and you have a good signal, that wouldn't be necessary. So guys, that is the Pinball arcade streaming rig. And yeah, it was a lot of fun to build. This was quite the process. It definitely took some doing, but I'm really happy with the way it came out. And I'm going to be doing my first stream from it tonight. So by the time I get this video posted, that'll probably have already happened. But if you guys are interested in watching me stream pinball and arcade content, go over there to @COE33 on Twitch. Links in the description below. I appreciate that. Love to see you over there. And I hope this was helpful if you're looking to build a pinball or arcade streaming rig. All right, guys, thanks so much for watching. Till next time, bye.